Hey, Vlad here, DevInsider.com. In my previous video, we have seen how similar programming languages can be. So as a beginner, it is sometimes hard to choose a place to start. In this video, I will try to answer the question, what is the best programming language? It has been proven a long time ago that as soon as a programming language has loops, it basically is equally powerful as any other programming language that has loops. Now, I understand that this is not a perfectly valid mathematical definition that a computer scientist inside of me would love, but I believe it's enough to get the point across. Things like XML, JSON, HTML are not exactly programming languages, but apart from these, it's hard to come by a regular programming language these days that doesn't have loops. So assuming that all for this discussion relevant programming languages are equally powerful, one might ask a very valid question. How does one even compare programming languages these days? There are many resources out there that deal with different metrics, like programmingdojo.net, for example. Check out the link in the description if you like. Even though such considerations are useful, in this particular video, I would rather try to steer this conversation away from it and rather talk about something I in particular care about. Here's the thing. Programming is about making the machine do things autonomously, and for this, the computer needs only two things. Number one, make decisions on its own, and I'm not talking about AI here, I'm talking about simple pre-programmed decisions, aka if statements. And number two, keep running autonomously without human intervention, aka loops. Now again, this is not a perfectly valid mathematical definition that a computer scientist in me would like, but again, it gets the point across. I would argue that programming languages and technically computers have been doing a marvelous job at those two things since day one. So it's hard for me to imagine that there will be a language one day that will significantly improve upon those two things. But what about assignment? Remember assignment? In my previous video, I said that all you would need to start learning programming today was to wrap your head around those three ideas: if statements, loops, and assignments. Before we go down that rabbit hole, however, let's zoom out a little bit and see how the if statements and loops changed over time. Now, I'm not going to recap the whole computer history here. For this special occasion, I'd rather just hand wave a little bit. First, we had registers and goto statements. Load something from register A into register B, then add whatever is in B to whatever is in C, then go to instruction 1337, and then keep doing that until whatever is in the register D is equal to 0. Fast forward to present day and we don't have any registers anymore, and we also don't have any goto statements. We still have if statements most of the time, but then we have those special keywords for loops like while, do, and for, and some languages don't even have those. I mean, technically they do behind the scenes, but sometimes they're hidden so well that it's hard to believe that they're still there. So we're essentially doing the same things that we did 60 years ago, but we raised the level of abstraction a little bit. To abstract means to take away the low-level details but preserve behavior by giving that thing that we abstract over a different name. And this point is crucial, a different name. Think about a word like engine. One does not need to care about which individual parts an engine is composed of, nor does one need to care about how an engine actually works to understand what an engine is. A 10-year-old kid knows what an engine is, and a 14-year-old kid even knows how an engine works. And this is exactly what we want. Raising the level of abstraction changes the way we think about things. It allows us to express ourselves more directly and thus advances the entire civilization. Back to assignment. So what is assignment? Firstly, the word assignment is a bit of a misnomer in our industry. If you wanted to be picky about it, every time you hear the word assignment in the software circles, what is meant is actually reassignment. The regular assignment is called initialization, and this is the one that we're talking about in this video. So now every time I say assignment, I actually mean initialization. So what is so interesting about assignment? Well, if you think about it, it's actually quite simple. Assignment just happens to also give names to things. Of course, we don't always raise the level of abstraction simply because we assign something. Saying something like val, my favorite number, equals 1337 doesn't change the fact that 1337 is just a regular number, even though it's my favorite one. So if there was a spectrum from assignment to abstraction, at which point is that thing that we're talking about is complex enough that this fact of just giving it a new name can be recognized as abstraction, and at which point is it still just a regular renaming? And this is exactly what I personally look for in my favorite programming language. How many things can I give a name to? Are these names useful? Do they have potential to raise the level of abstraction? If you're new to programming, this won't help you much though. So, assuming that you're not looking for a job, assuming that you're just somebody who is curious about programming, I would suggest the following. Watch my previous video in which I highlight a few programming languages. Pick the one that speaks to you and just do some research about it. For me, this language is Scala. It allows me to express myself freely. It fits the way I think, and we will see examples of this in my future videos. Please watch my video about Dev Wars before disliking this one, and please behave in the comments below. Let me know how you picked your favorite language. Which one is it? How did you choose it? It's Vlad, devinsider.com. See you next time.